You ready to start? Okay, this is Kwame Ghana first interview. The first question is, what brought you to study here in the U.S. or Webster in particular?
Yeah. So, after my undergrad, I wanted to do my master's right after school. So, I just went on the internet searching. I had two options. I wanted to either read international relations or social work. So I was just on the internet, searching for the right school. And I knew I didn't want to do it in Ghana because I felt I had spent a lot of time back there and looking at what I wanted to do and looking at what I wanted to do. I felt I needed that international, exposure. So I felt I needed to travel outside of the country. So I was just online looking for schools and which ones I could pay for, obviously, and what was available for me. And I think Webster provided the right things I wanted, and I could also easily access whatever things they needed to be, accepted into the program. That's how come I came into Webster.
Okay, so why the U.S. versus the UK?
Right, so not much. Basically, I would say it's because of the requirements of the school, I should say. Nothing really pointed me directly to the United States. It was because Webster was of it. They have a campus on Ghana, and so they accept a lot of the documents we have in Ghana. So coming to Webster wasn't too much of a stress as compared to,
Okay. How would you describe education here, your experience thus far?
I think it's engaging. It engages the student more than I thought it would. It gets the student engrossed in the learning process because professors just point you in the direction of what to learn. And if you are interested in studying, you get a chance to study, unlike where they rather feed you with information, but here they point you to where information is, and then I think this is more enlightening, I should say. So far I've enjoyed my time.
Do you think that schooling here is more enlightening?
Yeah, I think so.
Can you kind of compare what you mean when you say more enlightening? If you were to compare what a normal day in the classroom looks like in Ghana versus here.
Yeah, so on a normal day in a classroom in Ghana, first off, you have a very huge class. I haven't seen too many huge classes here.
Mm-hmm.
And professors back in Ghana would have lecture slides, lecture notes, and would most often tell you what's it's in their slide or whatever things they have prepared, and throw that out to the class. And mostly that's it. We hardly do extra, external research into whatever things. You do that at your own advantage if you want as a student. But professors would set exams questions mostly based on what they've given you in class. But here, outside of the course material, professors will sometimes even point you outside of the course material, tell you maybe this person had this reference concerning this topic, you can go ahead and read it if you want. Not tasking you to, but at least point you to those directions. If you are an inquisitive type of student, open to you to the opportunity to see what other people think of a particular subject. And I think that's very, very nice because, and whenever you write that in exam as well, you are marked correct. Unlike in Ghana, that's no professor gave you, so you don't bring that to class. Mostly you are marked wrong. And so for students of like me who like to read outside, mostly we were graded down because you always felt you knew too much, So I think here it opens you up to more information, you get more knowledge outside as well.
So in Ghana, you're not really encouraged to bring outside knowledge?
Mostly. Apart from the curriculum and what the professor brings to class, that's it.
Is there dialogue or conversations that happen amongst the students during lecturing in Ghana, or is it just all teacher-led and you're just taking notes?
It depends. So that mostly depends on who your professor is. Some professors allow for conversations, but generally the professor is just lecturing, gives a couple minutes for questioning and answers, and that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
What challenges have you faced before you came to the U.S.?
Getting the visa.
Getting the visa.
Yeah.
What was so challenging about getting the visa?
First off, I mean, the visa process, compiling the documentation is in itself a huge challenge. And you know, in Ghana, documentation is a little bit of a challenge. So, yeah. But once everything was set on that side, I felt, for me, the process was less stressful because I was able to book my interview on time. Went to the interview. It was pretty short, I mean, less than 5 minutes, my interview. But I think getting the documentation for the visa was what was challenging. Yeah, I wasn't denied for it. So for me, it was easy, but mostly people complain. You get denied more than once. And stuff. Yeah. But for me, it was quite a smooth experience. But getting documentation, you know, waiting for the school to send you your I-20 and things, that took some time because of addressing system in Ghana. You know, it's not that clear. And then after I got that, putting those informations together and also getting because you need to get who is financing you and all of those documents together before. That's quite a challenge.
Yep, been through that process with kids.
Yeah, that's quite a
So
challenge.
that was just it? That was the only challenge?
Well, for me, yeah. For me.
Wow, you didn't really have challenges.
Yeah, it was
really
it was,
that.
It was
okay.
I think it was smooth for me as compared to what I've heard people say.
So,
yeah.
So how do you feel about the actual classroom dynamics in the U.S., meaning the classroom activities, the assignments, the dynamics between the students and yourself?
Meaning are you asking of the indigenous student and myself as an international student? That's a very interesting question. There's mostly this dichotomy of, well, some people don't not necessarily see you as a stranger, but some don't appreciate how you think about things. Mostly, I think, because from where we come from, you can't challenge a professor too much. You just listen to what they tell you. You ask a couple questions. Sometimes the professor decides to answer or not, which is fine by us because that's all we know. But here you get students challenging professors in a very high context, and where you decide to maybe ask a certain question. You have this. Sometimes people making comments that make you realize or think that they're not appreciating what you have to say, and also kind of questioning what you are saying, especially if it's a subject where you feel you have a grasp to what is being said, and so you have something to share. Sometimes some people do not expect, oh, he knows this. It's just interesting anyway.
Which is generally what so conversations I've had with people, and what the literature talks about. A lot of international students, particularly Black international students, feel like their other peers don't think that they're as smart, or they can contribute.
Exactly.
Which is the same thing African Americans face, especially in predominantly white institutions. So it's interesting to hear that while we read this, we're still having that same experience today in 2019.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think it's against them to be thinking that way. I mean, in 2019, where information is overly available to anybody, you should be able to know that the world is not as it was 20, 30 years ago, and times have changed. Even if you don't read, or you just decide to listen to what is being fed to you in the media here, you should at least not forget that this is 2019 and social media, the World Wide Web. I mean, everything is everywhere, so people have access to information. And even if you won't assimilate what I'm saying, you should at least give me the opportunity to say what I want to say. But a professor is encouraging everybody to speak in class, and then you sit somewhere, make some comment, you make some expressions. It's for me I think it's at their own peril, because you lose what I have to share. You lose the knowledge I have that you didn't have, or might have helped you in some way.
So do you think your accent has that been an issue? With some students?
Some students, yeah.
Which we all have accents, and I don't know why people don't realize that.
And I think
no matter where you're from.
I think it's intentional. Mostly that's what I tell my friends. I think it's intentional. I say it's intentional because you speak to 10 people and maybe 8 of them can hear you correctly and have no issues. And the only 2 people who will not hear you, I have this way of asking you, pardon, say that again, and you realize they are doing it purposefully just to sometimes put you off to what you are saying, to make you, avoid maybe speaking with them or to cut whatever you are saying short. Because to have this issue of, there's this guy who would say, I'm sorry, say that again. He says it once, twice, and then he finished and he's asking the person, did he say this and this and this and this? Like, that's exactly what I said, and you kept asking me to repeat myself. So why are you asking this person the same thing I just said?
Right.
So he just doesn't want to have the conversation with you. He feels, I don't know, you are beneath him or yeah. So that's something I have observed with some people. Some people will.
But it's not different from the African American experience because we speak English, and you're saying if I'm talking, you don't understand what I'm saying.
Right.
Am I not speaking English?
Yeah.
And accents are just a matter of training your ears to hear.
Exactly.
Because we all, no matter where you're from in the U.S., a New Yorker speaks different from someone from St. Louis, from someone from Chicago, and depending on where you are, even in your same state, there are different dialects, right? So it's yeah, definitely. So that's interesting. That still happens here. All righty. What do you think about the assignments? Is the work difficult? Is the work easy? Is it challenging? What do you think about the...
Yeah. Mostly they are challenging. Yeah, not too easy, I should say. I mean, like I said, it gets you immersed into the program. So I see here you are not set to fail. I mean, professors are not interested in failing any student in any class. So
why do you think that's so?
Probably because of my experience back from home. I'm not saying from home you are being set to fail, but you have this situation where you are like, this man just wants to fail me, or that woman just wants to fail me. And you have a professor, making some comments and stressing on some points for you to think that no, he just does not, or he's just trying to put a certain pressure on the class to whatever point that is for whoever is doing that. But here, you are even told what is coming in examination. I mean, who does that in Ghana? No.
Nobody.
Even if you steal it, it will be stolen back from you. But here professors go tell you, maybe read this page, read a specific topic for exam. No, you don't get that. The whole course material from page 1 to the last page, study everything. You come to examine. It's just about 3 questions from the whole thing. So you realize you crumple a lot, like I said from the beginning. So you just learn for exam. But here, because I think you are being taught for outside of exam, professor just direct you to what is coming in exam, but he expects that outside of that you immerse yourself in the course, get to understand, what the course was intended for, so that you can, outside of the class, apply what you have studied if you really did study it. So I realized that, exam exercises, they're just a way to pass through the course. If just a little effort, you can do it. Yeah.
So in Ghana, listening to you, it seems like professors, it doesn't matter how many students professors fail or don't pass. Here, it matters, right?
Yeah.
So do you do at the end of coursework here, we usually do a course review, or
we do.
We write evaluation. You do the same in Ghana?
Yeah, we do evaluations, and every now and then we do it. Some lectures are sanctioned for failing, and the professor comes to class and even takes pride in the number of people they failed in a course. Sometimes in Ghana, some professors like, if you heard the last class, 100 people failed in my class out of 120. So
they take pride in that.
And he's excited. So essentially he's saying maybe put in hard work, but he's telling that if you don't do what they ask you to do, you are failing. Okay. And mostly it's because maybe those 100 people decided not to buy the course material. Because they're like, I'm using this book, and so you need to buy it. And probably I had an older brother, a cousin. an uncle who has the same book. He gives me, so I don't buy from the professor. He might feel you, but he didn't buy it. You know, you get these little dynamics, which is an interesting thing. It's a Ghanaian thing. We love it. I mean, we laugh about it, but you realize that our ideology of teaching students to be successful out of the class is short-lived, because mostly the professor is looking at his pocket, he's looking at how many people would just be responsible to him at the particular moment, rather than people who will be responsible even outside of the classroom and be able to make life for themselves. You know? So that's the little difference I've seen.
And I hear too, and you can tell me if this is wrong, it seems like there's no real life application to what you're learning, right? So and maybe it is, but you're kind of being taught to retain information for an assessment.
Exactly.
That's not given often.
Exactly.
So if you're able to kind of regurgitate the information given,
then you're a great student. But after that, you are done. You mostly find yourself not being able to apply most of the things you are taught in class outside, except those who are taking those professional programs like social work, law, because those things are just, you're essentially taught to go and practice. But reading political science, reading most of the programs, the things you are taught is, you're just crumpled information to reproduce back on the exam paper, and that's it. And that's it.
And so you think what we're taught here at Webster in particular is for life application?
So far what I have seen, I think so. I think so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about your particular program, what you've learned thus far? Like, have you noticed a change in what you thought when you initially arrived here versus what you know now that you're in this program and since you've been studying here in the U.S.?
Yeah, I think there's definitely been a change in my thought pattern. I mean, obviously I'm studying, I'm doing a master's degree, so my brain should expand a little bit. But aside from that, I think, immersing myself into most of the course materials, I really have been, my thought pattern has been changed on a lot of issues concerning the international structure and how things run. I mean, how I thought of things then has changed, and my appreciation of some things also has been challenged.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah. So, I mean, I thought I should leave Africa, come outside here, get a degree, get exposed to the international system, go back, help home, Ghana, hopefully, and Africa at large. And I get here with thinking, here in America, you hear that in America, I mean, education system is not difficult, it's easy, you speak anyhow in class and you go, and that's it. But
is that the perception the outside?
Yeah, that's the perception the outside. Yeah, they think, I mean, life here, education here is very, very easy. I mean, especially because of the way we are being treated in school. So yeah, I think to some extent that to be true. But when you immerse yourself in the literature I've been reading and the kind of books and some of the conversations we have in class, I think we are quite far from the truth, but our experiences are the same, in the sense that in as much as here you are being set up to achieve something out of school, people find it difficult to interact with these things. So people actually set themselves up to fail, while the system is setting you up to succeed. But while back home, the system is setting you up to succeed, but you have to set yourself up.
Okay, well,
explain.
Let me dive in. So this system here sets you up to succeed,
right,
but you fail on your own.
Exactly.
The system in Ghana sets you up to succeed.
To
fail, but you succeed.
Right.
You have to explain.
Right. So the system here gives you everything. I mean, you go to school, you have to buy books, but you have loans and everything too. But you get these loans and you finish school and you pay for the rest of your life. In Ghana, there are no loans. This is just a simple example. There are no loans. You have to buy books. The system will force you to buy the books. So even if you want to go to school, then you have to find a way of getting the books. And so right from the beginning, you learn how to live. You learn how to survive. If you are not fortunate like some of us who had parents to be giving you money and stuff, you have to find your way to survive. So mostly by the time you graduate from school, even though you just brushed through the course because you were so busy learning how to live, you come out a whole person. And I mean a whole person because you've engaged in some level of intellectual exercise. You've also engaged in the outside world. Now you are married together, you are ready to move out to succeed. But here, the system is so smooth for you. You hardly struggle to get anything. You pick up everything on the floor. Essentially, I know I'm just saying this literally, but I'm just saying that you don't get that level of engagement where you learn to fend for yourself mostly, I think, in here. And so people just go through the system with this shallow mindset of what the media is feeding to them, with this shallow mindset of what they were told in class, the few things they've read in a couple of literature, and they come out and realize that life is not really like that. So now you have to find yourself, and then you realize that that's why America has most of these issues they have. But out there, people in Ghana, where I come from, people struggle, so they come out and they're like, oh yeah, this is what school already taught me. So now you're ready to fight on for yourself. So I think, yeah, the systems need to find a way to balance this. But yeah, that's how it is.
I get your point.
Right. And when it comes to the things, the reason why I'm saying that the education here is different is that I mean, like Ghana, you just read to pass exams and you're gone. But here you read not just to pass exams, but to set you up for outside of what you have read. And so it has opened my mind to a lot of things. I mean, the way I think about Africa back now is very, very different. The way I think about the US now is different. The way I see Europe now is different. Today I was speaking with my roommate about what is happening today with ISIS and all these things and colonization. All this while we thought the white man wanted to bring development and we colonize was a bad thing. And so, we had to fight our way into independence. Today, some Islamists are saying that, well, we need to also win the world for Allah. We know this is wrong, but that's what they are saying. We need to win the world for Allah. And so they are bringing all these Islamist movements, killing people and stuff. For me, I think it's the same thing. You come to Africa in the name of preaching Christ and bring development. And we know the bad things that happen. And these people are also saying that we need to win the world for Allah. But because they can't go to a continent and rampage a continent for themselves, they'll sit in their part of the world and do their own thing.
But why do you think, you said bring development, but why do you think they brought development?
Did they?
Yeah, because you said bring development.
No, I'm saying that's what he said.
Oh, okay, got you.
That's what he said, that come to Africa, tell the people, well, we have Christ, we have gun. If you give us your people to go and work for us, we'll give you Christ and give you gun so that you protect yourself. And we'll help you bring development. But did they? No, they didn't. I mean, for the most part, they didn't. And even today, they are still fending off the people of Africa. And these people are so doing the same thing, essentially. Saying that, oh, come to us, we'll take you to Allah, you go to get heaven, blah, 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 and they're killing people. And so, for me, today the man in the middle, becoming the world police, America, Trump and stuff, wanting to say, no, don't do this. Eventually, essentially, the forefathers did the same thing, And I never thought about life this way. I never thought about what is happening in this world today until, some of these conversations we've had in class. Thought about these things and I realized, no. We back home, when we think of these things and think, yeah, America is doing well, we should. Why don't our lives don't become like Americans, blah, blah, blah. We should not forget how long even the democracy of America is taking. It's been over 200 years.
And is it still a democratic country?
Well, that's another conversation to have. And Ghana, just about 60 years, 62 years now. You look at how many threats America had on their president when they started their democracy. over several years, people wanted to kill some presidents. And just in 60 years, I mean, well, now we are doing fairly okay.
Yeah, Ghana is.
We're doing fairly okay. And so, if people begin to, embrace or are able to assimilate this in this sense, then no, these people had some time to grow. And they will not give pressure on Africa, give them some space, and rather guide them through with a good intent. I mean, I think the world will be a better place than it is today.
But are you looking at it only from, when you guys look at America, who are the people that when you're in Ghana, who are you looking toward? Is it what you see on TV from white people? Because marginalized people in the U.S. are still not doing well.
Exactly. So that's also not told. That part of the story I saw is not told. And so for the local Ghanaian guy or the rich Ghanaian guy who only sees what's on telly, he will not know what the marginalized person in the U.S. is seeing. And so he cannot think like we are thinking and say, oh, I mean, when I go here, the very first week I go here, so I met a woman who was asking me for money. And I was like, wait, am I in the United States?
Oh, did you not think before you got here?
No. Oh, would you ever see this on TV? No. And so I paused for a minute and asked myself if I'm really in the United States. I mean, I had to go back to my room and go and look into my passport and see if the stamp is in the United States for me.
Really?
Because I didn't think I'll meet somebody in the United States to ask me for money. I was thinking people would just maybe hand off money to you. Oh, black guy, take money. I mean, that's the idea you would have coming from home. I know maybe I've stretched
and
this
I guess
a little.
that's why everybody thinks I'm rich when I go to Ghana? Or our family members think that money is growing on trees?
Yeah, because what is being showed out there is the white America or the extreme white rich America, that everything is gloomy, right? I mean, Hollywood, basically Hollywood.
Definitely. And for the majority of white people, that is so.
Yeah.
That's not the others that live in America.
Right. So people will not see these differences. People will not see these marginalizations in the country, and they will think everything is as is in Hollywood, and they will not appreciate the kind of life they have back home and want to make it better for themselves.
So just coming here, you had a different, totally perspective.
I mean, even though for me, because I read a little, I didn't think too much of that, but this really has been an eye-opener for me. I really have gotten a firm grasp of who I am, I think. I mean, as an identity as an African, first and foremost, and secondly, how I appreciate some of the things that happen in the international system today has changed. Because I think I understand now how things happen and why some things would happen. Quite, I think.
Wow. I sure would like to know, like, an example of more. You've given a good example, but you said, you made a strong statement. You said, do you think your identity, you know who you are, and especially your identity as an African, what led you to that mindset or either revelation
of my identity as
your
an
identity?
African?
Because you knew before coming clearly that you were an African.
Right. Now I know, even if you get an American passport in this country, you're still not an American. Even if, because of, even the black Americans here find it difficult to some extent assimilating to themselves that they are Americans today. How much more you who have come from outside and gone through just a paper process of becoming an American. Secondly, I have also come to understand that no matter how bad it may seem back home, there are people here who have lived worse life than it is back home, even for probably the poorest person back home.
You've learned that in 1 year?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think it's just a matter of, sure, if you are here, tap into the opportunities that you may come by, because you might not necessarily get the same opportunity back home. But if you find yourself home, embrace what you have.
So do you think the opportunities here are the same for a Black American as it is for a white American?
I can't say that for, I can't say that in a strong sense because I haven't really tested opportunity. Even though I'm out there looking for a job now, I hope to, do my OPT after. I don't know too much about the process in that sense, so I can't really state for a fact. I've heard what people have said, so I wouldn't be able to place my hand on it and say I think they are different in what sense, because sometimes I think if all things are equal, that is when I can be able to say. But because I haven't been too much into that bit of the system, I can't say for a fact that the opportunities are not the same. But with what I have seen and heard, people say they are not.
They're not?
Yeah.
And I can tell you they're not. And nothing will be equal.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
Right.
When you have a system that is created to oppress a person because of the way they look and the color of their skin. There is no equality. We're still fighting for that.
Yeah.
So, but wow, a year, and I'd hate to see you stay here and see when come back and interview after some years of being here. So you set educational goals for yourself, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Are you meeting them?
At this point, educational goals is a very, very
What are some of your
open word,
goals?
I think, to say. I set life goals for myself, I should say. I told myself back then when I was in high school that I'll go to college after high school, do my national service. I'm sure you know Ghana after school, you do your national service. Do my master's after that, outside of Ghana. I didn't say what continent necessarily. And after that, I'll get married, I'll start life.
Oh, just the whole dream.
Yeah. So that was a life goal. But in regards to my masters, I was figuring myself out there, so I didn't know. But after I carried social work with my undergrad, I thought, there's a lot of things happening in our country, in our part of the world, and I thought we needed people who have the education and understood the system to be able to come back with the right mindset, with properly educated, to be able to fix our system. That's why I set myself out to come read this particular program, and I felt, we need people who, because I think our leaders are not educated sometimes. I think our leaders are not.
Your president even now?
No. Our current president is different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, our current president is different. But I just think we have mostly leaders in our continent who are not necessarily equipped to be in the helm of affairs, at that level. So we need people who understand the international system now, and so I thought, I need to get this particular knowledge and set myself up to hopefully lead.
So you think in the year, you have another year? Is it a 2-year program here?
I'm done this December. In a couple of weeks, I'm done.
A 1-year program?
It's actually 2 years, but I think I crumpled the classes too much because I took 12 credits every semester.
Really? You didn't work?
No.
Oh.
You can't work.
You can't, right? Because of the visa you're on, right? Wow. 1 year. That's good. That's really good. I don't know.
I wish I didn't.
I don't know if I would have done that.
When I came, we were like, you need to make 18 within a particular month. So that was how I could have made it. And after I made it, I was like, what's the point of changing? So just get it done.
I understand. So within the 1 year, with your life goals is what we're calling them, instead of educational goals, you're definitely meeting your goals, and Webster's helping you because you feel like you can leave here, and if you had to go back home, you could help make a change based on the education received here. Wow, good education. Hey, that's very good. How does this university support you as an African international graduate student?
That's a big question. I don't know if the university gives us any direct support, probably because of expectations, but I think generally university just treats everybody as one. I mean, not necessarily as international students, and so you need this type of support or not. Basically, it's just they're all students, and so they will find themselves, I guess. I don't think the university sets up any specific ways to support a black international student in any way, because you would think, I mean, so this is one thing we normally see. I mean, when it comes to OPT or CPT, so OPT is optical practical training, CPT is curriculum training. I mean, I remember we went for this training for CPT. So during the summer, I took a break. I thought, I mean, I just get some experience, find an NGO, I mean, any agency and work and get some experience. And so I thought maybe the university would be of help by directing you to a place, or I mean, you're an international student, you know nobody here, so it would be difficult to go find a job on your own. And the school does not offer any such opportunity. All the school gives you is training on how to not be out of status on your or F1.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's all. And so they tell you what the rules, what the laws say. So make sure you're not breaking the laws. Apart from that, go find your job, come and pay money to go and work, essentially. And actually, you pay the university for doing your CPT. It is treated as
a class.
Okay. Yeah. So for 3 credits, you pay $4,500 United States dollars.
You say United States dollars.
When you convert that to my home
Yeah,
currency,
that's a lot, especially when it's 5 to 1 right now.
Huge.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So I mean, that in itself will tell you no, don't do it unless probably you have some money to spare and you are able to find something. That's.
So if you had an opportunity to say, here's some things that you could do to help international students, what would those things be?
Outside of helping them to get integrated into the system, into the school.
There was no program or no orientation for the first month to help international students get integrated?
Apart from orientation for the school, that was the only one. And Multicultural Center has this program of optionally pairing students to a citizen here. Somebody who's an indigenous of the country. It's also optional. So if you want, and how your timetable is. And I remember the friend I got was a student here, and she hardly had time. So I think we only met like twice. We had a walk once in a park, and we had dinner once somewhere. That's it.
So there's no other opportunity to help you understand the systems here in school?
Apart from every now and then, they will send you an email, the Multicultural Center once again will send you an email telling you maybe it's coming to snow, or maybe you need to protect yourself, basically. So yeah, apart from, because we Africans are very cultural, very communal. So you want somebody to be there next door. Essentially, you can go no, hey, just talk and laugh. But here you don't get that. Your roommates, you even can't even speak with your roommate sometimes. Depends on who your roommate is actually. But yeah.
So when you came, did they help with housing? Help you locate housing?
No. The only thing they do. So I had this challenge. My process was a bit behind time, so I couldn't apply for housing. Well, I did before I left Ghana, but it was late. So I was a day or two before I left Ghana. So they said because I applied late, I couldn't get a room until I came here in August 15th until September, October, or a month or so. So I had to fend for myself, essentially. Yeah, so there were some students who work at the Multicultural Center who were kind of like, well, there are these places we can help you. If you have the money, obviously, too. So, yeah, we're making calls. So this was all this while I was staying in a hotel. So I stayed in a hotel for a week.
You come for money.
Come again?
You come for money because most students can't.
I don't come for money, but I mean, I can't sleep outside.
You stayed in a hotel?
Yeah.
So the university couldn't help in any...
No. So I stayed in the hotel for a week. I have a couple of friends who said for them, they lived in an Airbnb for almost 2 months. Yeah.
Really?
Because they couldn't find housing. Yeah.
See, our children, I keep telling them they're so blessed. But that's something we should do as the African American community. We should be able to help provide that transition piece.
Because it's a very, very important
if we can get you all to trust us and we can work together.
Well, that's another conversation.
Yeah, that is another conversation.
Because I realize we have our differences.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
Sometimes sharp, yeah, very unfortunate. So yeah, that was a very, very huge challenge. So I think, so now, whoever friend tells me, hey, I want to stay here, that's the first thing I ask them. Don't forget to look for where you live first. As soon as you get a school to accept you, start looking for that, because you don't want to go through that experience for a week. Yeah, and every day I was looking at my money. 85 bucks and every day, and that was because I had that amount on me. What if
a student didn't?
You can imagine how they would feel. Because nobody was ready to take you in. Nobody would. So. Did
you try to find the Ghanaian community here?
So the point is, at that point, I don't know who will be able to, well, maybe somebody will be thinking, but all you are looking for is where to live, so how to survive.
So like the Ghana Association should really be affiliated with the universities especially to get Ghanaians the help that they need.
Maybe, yeah.
But it's unfortunate that the universities can't provide more assistance with that.
Right. So I thought even if the school could, give a quota to international students. We have this amount of housing, maybe just 1 or 2% to help international students. So that no matter the situation, your first year, if you don't have housing outside of yours, you should be able to be given.
Because they should be able to allocate some type of housing for international students. Definitely.
Yeah.
And because they're coming, right? Because you all accept.
Exactly.
That is interesting. I had no idea that
you wouldn't.
happened.
You wouldn't, yeah. Me and my current roommate, we stayed in a hotel for a week before we finally found somewhere ourselves. Yeah.
So you found your own housing?
Yeah. That's all. Yeah, so apart from doing that, I think we'll find a system of helping those who would want to find CPT here, give them those type of connections. I think our career services, basically what they will do is direct you to resources. So, hey, we think these companies might want to work with you, as compared to, hey, these companies want someone to work with. So, if you want to, we can set you up to have a conversation with them. I think those are two different things. And for someone who is a visitor here, it takes a minute or two for the person to, put themselves together and say, oh, I'm going out to find a place to do internship. And it's different how we find internships back in Ghana.
Has it?
Yeah, it's quite. So my school will not find an internship for you, but they will give you a letterhead that this person is from this school, he's studying this program, we think he will be a best fit for your company if you have a position for him or her. So the school kind of gives you a foot maybe to the doorstep. Then so you as a student will have to send them out to wherever you feel you'd want to work. But here website does nothing like that. And secondly, being an indigenous of my country, at least I know how the system works. So you know who to speak to.
You don't know how to get acclimated to a new system.
Exactly.
Right?
So back home I know who to speak to, I know where to go to. But here you have to start everything yourself, and that was just about 6 months into the country. So you can imagine how that feels,
But just imagine if it was an Asian student or a student who English is not their first language and you don't have housing.
Right. So you can imagine how you come out of all that. So it takes time.
That's disheartening.
It is.
what I think you touched on the journey of studying here in the U.S., but I'm gonna just give you another opportunity. What does it mean to you personally, academically, and professionally? And I think you've addressed that, but if you want to add anything.
I think now, I mean, it's quite a prestige. Getting a degree from a U.S. school back home, people kind of give regard to it. Hey, he studied in the United States. So hopefully that gives you adds a bit of an impetus to your resume or your personality, and I think personally for me, it gives you the opportunity to have a different world view, rather other than the person who has just stayed in the country all their life, and you have access to, or you have enjoyed some experience that others have not enjoyed and seen. So it gives you a bit of dynamism in your individual persona wherever you find yourself.
You also talked about ways that you see the difference in yourself, but I'm going to ask this question again. Are there any ways you notice a transformation based on your experience here in the U.S.? Any other ways?
I'm more patient now, I think.
You're more patient?
Yeah.
Why are you?
I realize the system here is too quick. Everybody's in a hurry, everybody's too busy. Sometimes I say people are busy for nothing.
What you say busy for? We rushing to go nowhere.
Yeah. People hardly have a minute to stop and say hi to you.
And then, or they say, hey, how you doing? And you say, before you look up, you're like, you ask me how I'm doing, and I'm gone.
Yeah.
You're gone.
Well, I know it's part of the culture of being developed, but sometimes it takes away humanity from you, I think. So I've learned to be patient in a couple of things, probably because I've seen how things happen here and how things happen. I think you need to be patient to be able to go through, maneuver your way through these systems. Yeah.
And so it's interesting you said that, because I want to leave because of that. I'm tired of the rat race, the working and paying bills and, just going constantly. So when I go to Ghana or when I go other countries, even when I'm in Italy or Spain or Europe, nobody is rushing the way, now UK they are, but nobody is really rushing the way we are. But yet I find myself getting impatient in Ghana. So for instance, we went to the Minister of Health, and you told me to be here at 10. No. You came at 11:45.
12 actually.
He said, no, it was 11, right. And it was, no, I'm sorry. It's like, oh, I'm on time.
Yeah, that's part of the system, but yeah.
So to me, patience is needed in Ghana, because even when you go to the restaurants, now there are a lot of restaurants that I frequent that are really not owned by Ghanaians, owned by Lebanese or others.
Yeah.
How long does it take to cook?
Yeah.
And nobody is.
45 minutes.
I'm like, may I have some ice? You brought the hot soda, and it's like.
Yeah.
Although I'm complaining, I'm like, I want that life, because nobody's rushing to do anything, and it's like, chop. I'm constantly chop. Don't bring one. And I had to at a restaurant in Elmina, I had to tell a guy, please, can I just show you? You don't have to bring one drink. There are 18 of us sitting at this table. If you bring 2 drinks out at a time, can we get a tray?
How long will it take to sell all of us?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, do you have a tray? Do you have, I see something we could use. Put about 4 of those on it. So and he's like, okay.
Yeah. As if he didn't know. So, so I guess your question is...
patience.
I guess your question is, what do you mean by patience? So for me, what you just explained will be my normal.
Okay.
So seeing this becomes abnormal. So everything is too fast for me, everything is too quick for me. So I need to slow down and be able to find my way through. But not so even though that is my normal, I also complain a lot. So people always say, for you, are you a foreigner? You always complain about everything here in this country. I have a couple of friends who always told me that I'm a foreigner. because I was always complaining, like you are saying, time, food, traffic, everything. I was always angry at stuff. But even though I thought that was a deficiency, because I felt, oh, in America they are on time, they are this, they are this. Also seeing it work in reality, I also think it takes away something. Like I said, it takes away humanity from you to some extent. So like you need a level of patience. You need a level of humanity. You need to understand that, well, it's like this here, it's like that here, but we should find a certain amount of blend in the middle to be able to make life less stressful for all of us. You know, it's interesting, Ghana. So funny, yeah, so funny. People are never on time.
I tell you, I always say I love my cousins, but sometimes I'm just
never.
I'm like, how much longer can we sit here?
Never.
You know, it's fresh. I get it. It's not frozen. It's not prepared in advance.
Yeah.
But have the food in the restaurant.
Right.
Are we going to get it now? You know.
It actually is, but there's no urgency to tasting the especially hungry.
Right. And Popeyes, I like it.
Oh my God.
However, sometimes I took a group in last March, and that was our last restaurant before we got on the plane. And unfortunately, some people didn't tell me that they never got the entire meal. Like, they were getting the coleslaw and the chicken, and they like, the rice isn't ready, so they never got the rice. And I'm like, and they were like, yeah, we didn't get all of our food at our table. I'm like, why didn't you all tell me?
Yeah.
You know, they said they were cooking rice. No, but that doesn't mean he's not supposed to bring it back to you.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, and then I had to ask a couple of times, can we have napkins, please? You know, and he's like, oh, I gave you napkins. Sir, you gave us one napkin with the knife and the fork. Can we have some napkins to wipe our hands down?
Yeah.
And I would much rather do Frankie's, but you know, it's so I'm like, okay.
Yeah, there's no urgency to do anything. Like let's take our time.
Which actually is good,
yeah,
because now we are in the position that we're in with all the stress and disease, because we're running this fast race.
Right.
So it needs to be a balance, like you said. It definitely needs to be a balance. Is there something else you want to mention, or you think is noteworthy, or you want to ask about the research? Or any questions of me?
What's your intention? No.
Actually, that's good. So my intention really is just that. So when you read or you're researching about how U.S. universities can support international students, it's generally Asian international students. Or when you read any narratives about how international students come to the U.S., it's always from an Asian perspective, as we know that they're the largest population of students who attend school here. But I think our voices as marginalized, even being Black Americans or Africans, is rarely heard in research. And so my thing was, let's hear. And so when someone is researching about how schooling affects their lives, or the support systems that they feel they don't or do receive from universities, it needs to be more of an inclusive conversation versus the international student really only looks like the Asian. And it's like, no, there are more international students. The African international population in the U.S. has totally grown.
Yeah.
It continues to grow. And so when we talk about a worldview, you need to include all people.
Right.
And generally, for some reason, the Black voice, no matter where you are in the world, is not heard.
True.
You know, so I'm like, so I have one of my committee members that is from Asia, and she's like, oh, you should do all. No, this is about Africa, and I'm including all people. So I'm hoping, in the past I've interviewed a young lady from Egypt. I would love to have Northern Africans and to know, you know, what's the difference? How do they experience life here in the U.S.?
Can you imagine?
Right. So it's about, here we've heard nothing but negativity about Africa our entire lives in the U.S. I don't care what color, if you're white or Black, you still have these misconceptions and the stories that you've heard.
Yeah.
Let them tell their own narrative. and it doesn't need to come from another white person giving the narrative. So that's my point in selecting this research. And so the other piece of it is I'm looking at this research through transformative learning. So Mesro is a person who talks about how adults learn and what process they go through the learning process. So usually the initial stage is some kind of dilemma that initiates how they're going to transform and move in their new course of action. And so all the time, people don't choose to come to the U.S. because there's some dilemma in their home or in their life. But unfortunately, it seems like most people choose from the literature that I've read, to come to the U.S. because they have this ideology that the U.S. education system is so much better than what they're receiving at home. And once you get the education in the U.S., you can do so much more with that. And so how does that look for Africans? How does that show up? Because we're told that same thing. As African Americans, get an education and you're set. So many of us have all of this education and we're not set. And there's still unequal pay, and there's still not the same doors that open up for us. And I can have the same level of education as my colleague, and he or she that's white can still make more than me. And so I think also the misconception is that we are not educated, black people, and that's not true. African American women hold more degrees than most people, even the native white people here. And I can attest to it. This is my fourth. I have 2 master's degrees. So it's not from different universities. I'm not just in one university. I've lived outside of this state. So it's less hear the story from others.
Right.
And I don't want it to come from you telling our story.
Yeah, I mean, it's best said from the person.
And so what would qualify me as an African American? Well, we both are 2 marginalized groups of people in the U.S. and around the world. And believe it or not, we share similar experiences in the classroom as well. You would think, oh, she's a native, she lives here, she wouldn't. My voice still isn't heard in the classroom. There are still people who are challenging African Americans. We're like, well, we do better than you, and I'm smarter than you could ever, but yet you're still challenging the information or the value I bring to this classroom. So that was the point in this research for me.
That was very good.
That was the point in it for me.
I mean, when I saw it, I was like, who is this another Ghanaian? So that's what I thought. Actually, when I saw the name, I was like, is this a Ghanaian lady?
Nope, I'm
trying to
African.
see what's happening.
Yeah, and my interest has always been Africa. And so I'm all things the continent, because as God said the same, before I die, I'm going back. I'm going to live. So I thank you for just having me to listen to your knowledge. It was an eye opener for me to just hear some of the things that you said, and I know that it will benefit others to read the stories that come from the international students that don't look like the majority here. So I definitely thank you. If you want, I've provided you with my. I'm gonna stop this, but I did provide you with